The bank said yes. Your realtor is enthusiastic. You have found a place you love. And somewhere in the back of your mind, there is a quiet voice saying something does not quite add up. That voice is usually right. The amount a bank will approve you to borrow and the amount of house you can actually afford to own are two completely different numbers. Banks are in the business of lending money. They are very good at calculating the maximum you can borrow without immediately defaulting. They are not calculating whether the purchase will leave you financially healthy, whether you will have money left for emergencies, retirement, or any other goal you have for your life. That calculation is your job, and most people never do it before they buy. Today, we do it properly. My name is Rich Future You. This might be the most important video on this channel. Subscribe and hit the like button so more people find it. Let me explain exactly how banks calculate what they will lend you, because understanding this exposes why their number is almost always higher than your real number. Banks use a metric called your debt-to-income ratio, or DTI. They look at your gross monthly income before taxes, and they check that your total monthly debt payments do not exceed a certain percentage. Most conventional lenders allow a total DTI up to 43 to 50%. Some go higher. Here is the problem with that calculation. It uses your gross income, not your take-home pay. If you earn $80,000 a year, your gross monthly income is about $6,667. But your actual take-home pay, after taxes and deductions, might be $4,800 to $5,200. The bank calculates your affordability on $6,667. You actually live on $5,000.
And the bank's calculation only includes your debt payments. It does not include property taxes, homeowners insurance, HOA fees, maintenance costs, utilities, or any other real cost of owning the home. Those are all yours to figure out after the fact. So when the bank says you are approved for $450,000, that is the maximum they will lend you. It is not a recommendation. It is not a safety guarantee. It is a lending limit.
The most commonly cited rule of thumb for home affordability is the 28-36 rule. It says two things. First, your total housing payment, mortgage, property taxes, insurance, should not exceed 28% of your gross monthly income. Second, your total debt payments, housing plus car, student loans, credit cards, should not exceed 36% of your gross monthly income. This rule is better than what banks use, but it still has problems. It uses gross income, not take-home pay. It does not account for maintenance, and 28% of gross income can still be a very uncomfortable percentage of your actual take-home pay, especially in high-tax states or for people with employer deductions. Here is a better version. Take 25% of your monthly take-home pay. That is a safer ceiling for your total housing payment, including taxes and insurance. This leaves enough room for everything else: savings, investing, debt payoff, life, without the house consuming your financial life. On a take-home pay of $5,000 a month, 25% is $1,250. That is your maximum safe monthly housing payment, including taxes, insurance, and HOA if applicable. We will factor in what house price that corresponds to in a moment. Here is where most first-time buyers get blindsided. The mortgage payment is only part of the real monthly cost of owning a home. Here is everything that gets added on top. Property taxes. These vary enormously by location, from under 0.5% to over 2.5% of the home's value annually. On a $350,000 home in a 1.2% tax area, that is $4,200 a year, or $350 a month on top of your mortgage payment. Homeowners insurance. Typically $100 to $100 a month depending on location, home value, and coverage, more in disaster-prone areas. HOA fees. If applicable, these range from $100 to $500 or more per month in some communities. These are non-negotiable and often increase over time. Maintenance and repairs. The rule of thumb is 1% of the home's value per year in maintenance costs. On a $350,000 home, that is $3,500 a year, or about $292 a month. This is not optional. It is the cost of keeping the asset from deteriorating. New roofs, HVAC systems, plumbing repairs, and appliance replacements are real and inevitable. Utilities. Homeowners typically pay significantly more in utilities than renters, especially for larger spaces. Budget an additional $100 to $300 a month above what you currently pay. Add all of this to the mortgage, and you can see how quickly the true monthly cost of ownership grows. A $350,000 home with a 7% mortgage rate, 20% down, typical taxes, insurance, and 1% maintenance budget can easily cost $2,800 to $3,200 per month all in. A mortgage calculator shows you one number. The real number is usually 30 to 50% higher. Here is the formula to calculate your real monthly cost of ownership before you buy. Start with the mortgage payment. Use an online calculator with the actual loan amount, current interest rate, and your loan term. This is your principal and interest only. Add property taxes. Take the home price, multiply by your local property tax rate, then divide by 12 for the monthly amount. You can find your county's rate by Googling your county name plus property tax rate. Add homeowner's insurance estimate. Budget $150 a month as a starting point and get actual quotes once you have a property in mind. Add HOA fees if applicable. These are listed in every MLS listing. Add maintenance reserve. Take 1% of the purchase price and divide by 12. This money should go into a dedicated savings account every month for repairs. Add your estimated utilities increase above current spending. The total of all of these is your real monthly cost of ownership. Now compare that to 25% of your monthly take-home pay. If the real cost is above 25% of take-home, you are stretching into financial stress territory. If it is below 25% with comfortable margin, that is your green zone. Let me be honest about something. The real estate industry rarely is. At today's interest rates and home prices in most major markets, renting is frequently the mathematically better financial decision for the first 5 to 7 years of ownership. Here is why. When you buy a home with a 7% interest rate, the majority of your early mortgage payments go to interest, not equity. In the first year of a 30-year mortgage, roughly 85 to 90% of each payment is interest. You are not building equity quickly in the early years. At the same time, the down payment you put into the house has an opportunity cost. $70,000 put into a down payment on a $350,000 home is $70,000 that is no longer in your investment account, growing at 7 to 10% annually. This does not mean renting is always better. Buying builds equity long term. It provides stability and control. It hedges against rent increases. And in markets where rents are high relative to purchase prices, buying can pencil out quickly. The point is, buy when the real numbers make sense for your specific situation, not because you feel like you are supposed to. The rule of thumb for the rent versus buy calculation: if the purchase price of a home is more than 20 times the annual rent for a comparable property, renting is usually the better near-term financial decision. At 15 times or below, buying typically wins. Before you talk to a realtor, before you get pre-approved, before you start browsing listings, know these 3 numbers. Number 1, your real maximum safe monthly payment. Take 25% of your monthly take-home pay. That is the ceiling for your all-in housing cost, including taxes, insurance, HOA, and maintenance. Not the mortgage payment alone, all in. Number 2, your maximum purchase price. Working backwards from your safe monthly payment, use a mortgage calculator to find what loan amount produces a payment that leaves room for taxes, insurance, and maintenance within your 25% ceiling. At 7% on a 30-year loan, every $100,000 borrowed costs roughly $665 per month. That is your conversion factor. Number 3, your full down payment plus cash reserves. Your down payment is not the only cash you need at closing. Closing costs typically run 2 to 5% of the purchase price, and after closing, you need a fully funded emergency fund still intact. If buying a home would drain your emergency fund, you are not ready to buy yet.
You are ready to buy a house when all 5 of these are true. 1. Your all-in monthly housing cost is 25% or less of your take-home pay. 2. You have a 20% down payment. 3. You still have a fully funded emergency fund after the down payment and closing costs. 4. You have no high-interest debt. 5. You are planning to stay in the home for at least 5 years. If any of those 5 are not true, you are not ready yet. That is not a failure. That is financial clarity. The house you can afford in 3 years with proper preparation will be a significantly better house than the one you can barely afford today. The bank's answer to how much house can you afford is the wrong answer for your life. The right answer comes from your take-home pay, your real all-in costs, your full down payment, and your financial goals beyond the house. The Home Affordability Calculator worksheet in the description walks you through every number in this video with your actual figures, real monthly cost, maximum safe purchase price, and the income you need to buy without financial stress. Link below. Subscribe for a new video every Tuesday and Thursday. Rich Future You. Your future self is watching.
Here is your reference. Check this conversion factor. Use this for your price. Calculate it now.